Hey folks, Eric for a Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is Tuesday, June 27th. Oh, been on the water every day for the last week, so fish are moving. I mean, we're catching a few. I can tell you the dam area has improved. Water clarity is starting to improve quite a bit too. It's kind of a cool deal. Seems like up the rivers it's clearing up first. But as the water continues to drop, it is getting clearer even down here by the dam. It's not table rock clear that we're used to, where you can see 8 to 10 feet deep, but we are starting to see signs of 3 to 4 to 6 foot of visibility up around Shell Knob, seen as much as 8 foot of visibility. So it is starting to clear up some. I think as the water continues to drop, it'll clear up even more. So we will get into those normal summer patterns here before too much longer. As far as our lake level is concerned, we're at just under 922 as of this morning. So that puts us right at about 5 feet high off a normal summer pool. And Core has been running water pretty much at least 2 units constantly. And it seems like in the afternoons and evenings, they'll kick on 2 more units. So they're drawing some water out of the lake. They're definitely moving some water. Haven't had a lot of rain, so the water is dropping. Water levels definitely getting better, getting closer to normal. Still have water in the bushes if you're inclined to flip the bushes, but it is definitely dropping and we're getting a lot closer to a normal summer pattern. Water temperature, really these cold nights have kind of stabilized the water temperature. We're right around 80 degrees still, just like we were last week. Still right around 80 degrees. Hasn't gotten much hotter, certainly didn't get any cooler. But this morning I'm down at the dam area. We started off at about 78, just pulled off at noon, and we're at about 81. So really not a lot of movement. We're still in that 80 degree range. So water temperature is pretty stable. But if you guys are coming down, so you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, like I said, the lower end has actually improved since last week. I know last week I got a few emails, guys saying, man, I really like to fish the lower end, wish it was better. It is better right now. It's definitely better than it was a week ago. Basically, you've got a couple of bites going on. You still have a really good shallow bite, a relatively shallow bite for smallmouth mostly. Smallmouth, you'll catch a few spots and a few largemouth, but mostly it's a smallmouth bite. It is a shallow bite. Catching a lot of fish on the net head, using the new Jewel net head. Guys have been asking me where you can get those. You can get them online at jewelbait.com, or if you're in the Springfield area, they are carrying them at Sportsman's Warehouse. So you can get them now. They're a lot more available. We're catching a lot of fish on the net head, catching a lot of fish on a tube. The Bass Pro tender tube really kind of kicked off this week. Started catching a lot more fish on the tender tube, especially in puke, but puke and green pumpkin have been the best 2 colors. Catching some fish on the spider jig as well, and catching some fish on the excuse me, on the squirrel head too. Most of these fish are going to be on gravel flats, gravel points, typical spots where you expect to see smallmouth in the summertime, and they're anywhere from about 8 feet out to about 20 feet deep. I have been catching a few as the sun comes up, a little bit deeper, 20 to 25, but most of the fish first thing in the morning are going to be up in that 8 to about 20 foot deep range. The other bite we've got going on is the deep bite is finally starting to kick in. Starting to catch quite a few fish deep. Drop shot's been the #1 bait. Have caught a few on a spoon, but it seems like the drop shot is dominant. Doing well with a shad-shaped worm, doing well with the UV finesse worm, doing well with a chompers finesse worm. Just about anything you like to drop shot, you can catch fish on a drop shot right now. So same sort of deal. Most of the fish we're catching are out on those gravel runouts. They are a little bit deeper, about 28 to about 35 feet deep. Some of the humps, the islands, that sort of thing down here in the lower end, we are catching a few fish on those as well. Drop shotting out there, like I said, 25, 28 to about 30, 35 feet deep. They haven't really moved deep. Really haven't seen a lot of fish in the trees. Really haven't seen a lot of fish around the bigger boat docks. I think that will change as the shad start to group up and move towards those deeper areas around those deep boat docks and in the guts of the creeks around the trees. Go to the Kimberling City area and you definitely have a good shallow bite in the Kimberling City area. Catching a lot of fish again on the net head, using the new Jewel net head. Catching a lot of fish on a squirrel head, a lot of fish on a tube. The tube in the last week has really kind of become my #1 bait. That Bass Pro Shops tender tube, 1/4 ounce head. Puke's been my best color, but we have been catching them on green pumpkin as well. and catching them on a jewel spider jig too. Okeechobee blue, green pumpkin candy have been two real good colors. Peanut butter and jelly has been a real good color, and matching that up with a speed craw has been the best trailer on that. But a lot of fish on those gravel runouts, on those gravel points, anywhere again from about 8 foot out to about 20 foot deep really seems to be where they're at. Catching a few fish on a spinner bait if you get a windy day, throwing a war eagle spinner bait around some of the flooded bushes. It seems like if you can get your timing right and catch a time when they've got the dam down to 2 units or even less than that, the fish will actually back up into those bushes a little bit. First thing in the morning, you can catch a few around the flooded bushes with a war eagle spinner bait. And then the deep bite. Drop shot again is dominant. Fishing out on those long gravel points, those humps, the islands, that sort of thing. Out there anywhere from about 25 to about 35 or even 40 feet deep. Shad-shaped worm, UV finesse worm, chompers, drop shot worm. All those baits are working out there, drop shotting deep. Seems like the drop shot bite has gotten better this past week than it was last week. I'm just catching a few more fish out there drop shotting than we did a week ago. Go up into the James, and the James definitely has a great shallow bite going on. Catching a lot of fish on a Jewel Pro spider jig up there. Basically fishing gravel points, fishing some pockets. Bluff end pockets were really good for us towards the end of last week with a spider jig. Fishing around some of the trash and laydown that gets blown into those bluff end pockets and those little bluff pockets. Okeechobee blue was good. Table Rock Secret was really a good color up there. It's got a little bit of chartreuse and a little bit of orange on it, and that seemed to make a difference. Putting the speed craw on it as well. Did catch a few up there on a big worm too. It seems like the water is getting about right for those brush piles. So those brush piles that were a little bit too deep a couple of weeks ago are just about right. Those ones we normally fish that are about 10 to 12 foot deep are now only about 15 to 17 feet deep. Catching a few on a UV big worm or a Berkeley 12-inch worm. Red shad was a real good color for us last week, and caught a few on blue fleck as well. Basically just working it really slow, Texas rigging that big worm and just working it through that brush. Caught a few doing that too. Go up into the White River, and the White River continues just to be fun. You get up around Shell Knob and the water's actually pretty darn clear. It's almost normal. Still has a little bit of a stain to it, but it's almost normal. Even that rain we got over the weekend didn't seem to color it up too much unless you get right around the mouth of the Kings. You get above the Kings, and it's really pretty dang close to normal watercolor up there. Doing well with the Ned rig up there. Again, jewel Ned head. Doing really well with the squirrel head up there too. Matching that up with either a Zoom speed craw or matching it up with the UV whisker beaver. Both of those are working good. Doing well up there with a spider jig too. Seems like up the Kings I did a little bit better with a spider jig yesterday than I have been, and a lot of fish on that spider jig. Table Rock Secret was really strong. Okeechobee blue was really strong, matched up with a speed craw. So catching a lot of fish. They're not that deep up in the Kings either. Seemed like most of them were just about from the bushes out to about 12 or 13 feet deep is where we caught most of them. And then the deep bite is really good up there too. Again, drop shot is definitely better than a spoon or anything else right now if you're fishing deep. Shad shaped worm is really strong. Caught a lot of fish on a shad shape up there. UV worm's working really good, and the chompers finesse worm. All those are working, or chompers drop shot worm. All those are working. The chompers, that brown purple laminate was really the best color, though we did catch some on a blue flake one too. Most of the fish, again, on those long gravel runouts, out there about 25 to say 35 or 40 feet deep. Seems like if you're fishing those long points, and this kind of holds true for the whole lake, fishing those long gravel points, more fish are on the downstream side than on the upstream side, especially if they're running 4 units. It will pull the shad over, and they do tend to stack up on that downstream side. Doing that down here on the lower end too. So if you're going to drop shot, even if you're throwing a jig, work that downstream side first. We all seem to be catching a lot more fish on the downstream side than the upstream side. Guys, it is the end of June, and it's actually freaking gorgeous. It's going to be about 80 degrees today, sunny. Boat traffic's getting a little thick in the afternoon, but it's not bad. And we're catching fish. I mean, a lot of fish. We had a good day today. Had a father, son, and grandfather out. They all caught fish, had a good time. Son won. He kicked everybody's butt, but catching a lot of fish, a lot of smallmouth shallow, and then move out and catch spots once the sun gets up and the smallmouth slow down. We've been catching a lot of spots out deep down here at the dam area, but a lot of fun fishing right now. And I think that deep bite's only going to get better. Guys, if you're thinking about it and you want to learn how to fish deep, now's the time to start thinking about booking a trip, because we will be starting to catch a lot of fish deep. We should, once this water clears up, start catching them on a swim bait a little bit better again too. So if you want to learn how to fish a swim bait, good idea to come down and do that too. But if you guys are thinking about it, want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. Shoot me an email or book online. Either way, we get back to you as soon as we can on that. Having a lot of fun, catching a lot of fish. Guys, if you want to go fishing, give me a call. Can't wait to hear from you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the water.